Let me give you something to think about. What if I told you that right now, companies are spending 29% of their entire security budget on GRC tools? That's more than they spend on staffing, security operations, or anything else for that matter. And at the same time, 34% of employers can't find people who understand how security controls actually work in real world. In case you are wondering where I'm going with this, because I know you might be wondering, I'm trying to show you why the huge opportunity in GRC we keep talking about exists in the first place. But this is where it gets frustrating. Those same companies won't hire you without experience. They are spending millions on GRC while qualified candidates can't get in because of this experience dilemma. I've sat with hiring managers who tell me, Tolu, I would love to hire someone eager to learn, but my boss insists on 3 to 5 years of experience. Meanwhile, their GRC positions stay open for 9 to 12, sometimes 15 months. So, what I'm about to show you is how to land $100,000 plus GRC roles with no special connections and no security background in this same layoff pandemic that everyone keeps talking about. This is going to be a very practical video, and I hope you're ready to learn skills that will get you hired, even without IT experience. Now, these are the things we'll cover. We're going to cover the following. Number 1, 7 projects that mirror exactly what GRC professionals do daily. Number 2, free tools that give you 80% of enterprise capabilities. Number 3, we'll look at community contributions that build your reputation. And number 4, we're going to look at volunteer opportunities that create real world impact. Okay? So, if you're looking to bypass the traditional pay your dues career path and you want to jump straight into GRC, this is your blueprint. So, let's go. Before we dive in, take a second to hit that like button if you're tired of the typical start at help desk advice, and subscribe for more unconventional career strategies that actually work. So, I like to understand the nitty-gritty of how anything works. That's me. And that's why naturally, when conversations around GRC come up, I also attempt to break things down as much as possible. I'm very curious, right? I've got an inquisitive mind. Look, when we say GRC is where the real action is happening in cybersecurity, it's not an exaggeration. It's not. If you want to know the hotspot of any business at all, just follow the budget. It's as simple as that. Always follow the money. You know, when 29% of security spending goes to GRC tools, that tells you everything you need to know. Why are companies investing so heavily here? That's a good question. And it boils down to 3 simple reasons. Number 1, regulation is exploding. GDPR, CCPA, CMMC, PCI DSS, HIPAA, the list keeps growing. Companies don't have a choice. It is either they comply or get crushed with fines. We're talking millions of dollars and potentially business-ending reputation damage. Number 2, cyber insurance requirements, which are insurers are demanding proof of controls before they write policy. That's it. No compliance, no insurance. Also, no insurance, no business. This wasn't the case 5 years ago, but now it's non-negotiable. Then number 3, third-party risk management. See, major enterprises won't work with you unless you can prove your security posture. And all of this has to do with GRC. Which brings us to the skill gap issue. Several organizations have to deal with these GRC problems. They have a budget to fix it, but won't employ you either because you don't have the years of experience they need, or you're not presenting your skills the way you should. Now, in case you're still not sure why GRC is where you should be or where you should be building your career, let me simplify it for you. For one, you don't need years of technical experience to excel in GRC. What you basically need, context, okay, business understanding, and then practical experience. Doing what? Applying frameworks, all of which you can build on your own. Now, here's something most cybersecurity experts won't tell you. Technical skills are actually less important in GRC than in any other security roles. I've watched marketing majors outperform computer science graduates in GRC. This is not an exaggeration, okay? In GRC interviews, because they understood the business perspective better. And even more importantly, GRC is more resistant to outsourcing and automation than most cybersecurity roles. Companies can't easily offshore governance or compliance because it requires a deep understanding of local regulations and business context. Now, let's not forget the fact that when recessions hit and companies cut staff, compliance is not optional. Regulatory requirements don't go away when times get tough. They are there. I've seen entire security teams slashed during budget cuts while GRC professionals remain untouched. That kind of job security is worth thinking about, if you ask me. Now, if you haven't already, remember to click that subscribe button, okay? Because more videos like this, they're on the way and you don't want to miss them. Let's talk about how to exploit it, starting with projects. Yes, projects that build the exact experience that employers are desperate for. Let's look at project number 1. Is the upside down risk assessment. See, don't just assess your home network. That's too basic. Instead, this is what I want you to do. Pick a company that recently had a major breach, okay? Research what happened. Then go back and build the risk assessment they should have had that they didn't have. Build it. After that, I want you to do the following. Identify the assets they failed to protect, the threats they missed, and the controls they should have implemented. Okay? This shows employers you can think critically about real-world failures. This approach demonstrates more real-world thinking than candidates with years of checkbox experience. Project number 2 should be building a regulatory prediction framework. Okay? Regulatory prediction framework. What do? Study and imagine technology like AI, IoT, or quantum computing. Then create a framework predicting how regulations will evolve to address its risk. Okay? So this shows forward-thinking analysis that most GRC professionals lack. It positions you as someone who anticipates compliance needs and then not just reacting to them. Okay? Now for project number 3, do a compliance crosswalk. All you have to do here is take 2 frameworks that companies struggle to reconcile, like GDPR and CCPA or NIST, and even ISO 27001, then create a detailed mapping showing where requirements overlap and where they conflict. It sounds simple, but this is high-value work that companies pay consultants thousands of dollars for. Project number 4, the third-party risk simulation. Now, what you will do here, especially with this project, is you're going to pick 5 cloud services you use personally. Okay, 5. Create vendor risk questionnaires. Evaluate their security postures through publicly available documentation and then develop risk scores. When you're done, then document your acceptance criteria and compensating controls. With this alone, you would have created a very powerful proof of your knowledge as a professional. This is one of those tasks that companies struggle with consistently, constantly, because they adopt more cloud services. Now would be a good time to hit that like button if you're already thinking about which of these projects you're going to tackle first, okay? And stay tuned because the next 3 projects are even more powerful. Project number 5 is the Control Inheritance Project. Yes, this project basically shows how security controls from one system layer can be applied to another. So in your home lab, for instance, set up a multi-tier environment, cloud and on-prem, right? Then document how security controls at one level, like AWS, right, can satisfy requirements at another level through inheritance. It's a great way to demonstrate your sophisticated compliance thinking. Like, this is how I think, okay? And now, project number 6. This is a policy translation challenge, okay? How do you do this? Simple. Take a complex NIST or ISO requirement, okay, and create 3 versions of the policy. One will be the executive summary, the second will be a technical implementation guide, And the last one will be the end user instructions. This shows that you can communicate across organizational levels, which is basically what every organization is looking for, if you ask me. Remember that in GRC, your ability to translate complex requirements into actionable plans is more valuable than technical expertise. Finally, project number 7 is a GRC metrics dashboard. I've always been saying this. See, for this particular one, you will create a dashboard that shows how you would assess the real impact of security controls, going beyond just whether they pass or fail compliance requirement. This is beyond that. Okay. Now, after that, define metrics that demonstrate actual risk reduction. All right, not just checkbox ticking. No, this is important. Don't just do these projects. No, document them like consultants do. Okay, use the problem, approach, solution, outcome formula, and then add visuals. Okay, flow charts, metrics, screenshot, whatever. Just make sure it's not boring. Document. If you don't document, it didn't happen. These 7 projects are not academic exercises. No, these are the exact tasks GRC professionals do every day, and you can build them all before landing your first job. So, if you want a deeper breakdown of any of these projects, let me know in the comments which one you would like me to explain in more detail in a future video. Okay, so we've covered projects that would make you look impressive in an interview. Now, let's talk about the tools that will set you apart. This is where most candidates completely miss the mark. It's great that you know what to build, but let's talk about how to build it. The tools I'm talking about, and I'm going to show you, they are the difference between amateur and professional grade work. Okay, the thing is, it's important you are familiar with tools, not just because of the edge they gave you. No, they make your life a lot easier when you eventually get a job. Okay, so for that reason, I'm going to show you what working professionals actually use and the hidden capabilities most people never get to discover. The first category of tools you'll be looking at is open source GRC platform, but with an unconventional twist. Okay, everyone talks about installing a Ramba, right? But few know how to customize. What you need to do is download the community edition, but don't just use it for the usual setup and configuration. Go a step further and then create custom control mappings between frameworks. Okay, for example, map NIST controls to ISO 27001 requirement. Then document your methodology, because this shows you understand control objectives, not just tool interfaces. Also, when you use CISO assistant, don't just run canned assessment. You want to create a custom compliance program for a unique scenario, like a healthcare provider that also processes payment and as a result needs integrated KIPA and PCI DSS compliance. Okay, this shows you also have the contextual thinking that senior GRC professionals have. Okay, but you know, I get a lot of messages from people asking how they can break into cybersecurity. It's tough, especially if you're like how I used to be, stuck in a job that doesn't pay enough or feeling like you've hit a wall. I get it. That is why I created something more than just these videos you're watching. Something structured, practical, and focused on real action. It's called the 5-day Cybersecurity Job Challenge. This isn't just content you binge and forget. We're talking hands-on learning, real skills, and daily guidance. 2 hours a day for 5 days. It's all designed to push you from thinking about change to actually making it happen. Look, I love making these YouTube videos, but let's be honest. How many times have you watched a great video, thought, I'm going to do something about that, and then didn't? That is why this challenge is different. It's designed to be your support. Okay, we're not just learning, you're giving tasks, actionable steps every single day with live Q&As where I personally help you avoid mistakes and land the jobs that will change your life. Watching my videos is great, but if you want to go beyond watching, if you're ready to take real steps toward a $250,000 career a year, come join the challenge. The link is in the description below. You can't miss it. Now, enjoy the rest of this video, but don't forget to come back when you're ready to take that next step. There's also one tool in this category I think people are not talking about enough. That is GRC5. This newer platform, this will let you create custom dashboards for different stakeholders and also build executive, technical, and operational views of the same compliance data. This shows you understand that GRC is about communication and not just control tracking. Okay? Drop a comment if you're familiar with any of these tools already. Drop a comment. Now, the second type of tools that we're going to talk about are repurposed developer tools. This is where you can really separate yourself from the pack. As a beginner, you might not know that many top GRC teams use Git to track changes in policies and compliance evidence. You don't know. So here is what you will do, okay? Set up a GitHub repository structured like a compliance program, okay? It should have policies, procedures, evidence, and audit results. Then, use Git branching feature for managing the policy reviews and the approvals. This actually makes you look more sophisticated than most GRC candidates. Now, another tool you can repurpose is Jira. Yes, the same one developers use. You can set it up to track findings by creating custom workflows that match the typical audit process of number one, identifying issues, validating them, planning fixes, implementing solutions, verifying results, and finally closing them. Okay, you can also create a dashboard to show like the progress of fixes and any overdue findings. All right, moving on. The third category of tools are assessment and testing tools with business context. With scanning tools like OpenSCAP and OpenVAS, don't just run default scans. Create custom profiles that are aligned with business requirements and then map vulnerabilities to the business processes. You will prioritize by impact, okay, rather than technical severity scores. What this demonstrates is risk-based thinking, and this separates leaders from technicians. Okay, for a tool like OpenSCAP, create custom profiles that align with specific business requirements. For example, a profile for systems handling personal data versus one for general office use. Okay, then generate exception report for controls that you know that this can be applied due to business reasons, and then document any alternative controls for that. Now, for a tool like OpenVAS, integrate risk context. Instead of just listing vulnerabilities, you need to understand how they relate to your business. Link each vulnerability to specific business activities. Okay, for example, data processing and customer transactions, right? After that, you want to prioritize based on business impacts and not just the CVSS scores. This shows you think about security in terms of business risk, not just technical details. Okay, then the fourth category of tools is the business translation layer. This is what separates junior from senior GRC professionals. Okay, so what do you do here? Download the free Power BI desktop tool and use it to create charts and graphs that show how well your security controls are working, not just that, and how they help reduce business risk. You can include things like trends, which departments are covered, and also how exposed the business is to risk over time. For a more advanced touch here, you can create a simple model in Excel called a Monte Carlo simulation. This model helps show how improving your controls can reduce the chance of losing money. Okay, it is an advanced skill that many experienced professionals have. So imagine how much credibility this would give you if you showed it during an interview. And it gets better. All these tools are great on their own, but you can make magic if you connect all your tools together. Ooh. For example, show how security findings from OpenSCAP, right, the scanning tool, go into Jira for tracking issues, then link them to compliance requirements in CISO Assistant, and finally, display them in your executive dashboard. Wow. This shows that, number one, you understand how to connect systems and work across tools. This is a skill that senior professionals develop over time, but you'll be able to show it from start. Projects and tools give you skills, but credibility is what gets you interviews. Okay? The next thing I want to show you is how to build that credibility without waiting years. to do that. Okay, by the way, if you're finding value in this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future deep dives into cybersecurity career strategies, just like the one you've been enjoying. Okay, the next part we need to look at is how you can build credibility through community and volunteering. See, networking is great, fantastic even. I totally recommend it. But you can do much better than just attend events or join forums online passively. I'm going to give you these 5 approaches I'm about to share with you. They are the backdoor channels many GRC professionals use to get job offers without ever touching a job board. So you need to pay close attention here, okay? The first approach is for you to become a framework translator. Every major security framework has public comment period from NIST to ISO, CIS, and even CMMC. And most people don't even know these exist. So monitor this organization's website for draft document, then submit thoughtful, detailed comments, okay? Don't just say, this looks good, or nitpick grammar. Instead, this is what you should do. Identify genuine implementation challenges or conflict with other frameworks. And when you do that, suggest practical improvement based on your own lab experience. Okay, this kind of contribution shows you are a proactive, knowledgeable professional in the field. The next approach is to contribute to documentation. Yes, open source GRC tools don't just need coders, they also need documentation writers. So volunteer to improve guides or create implementation tutorials. Then publish your work on forums like GitHub, okay? And just like that, you're a published contributor in the field. Yes, another way to build credibility is curate use cases, okay? Now, join GRC communities on Reddit, LinkedIn, or specialized forums, okay? But when you join, don't just ask basic questions. Instead, document detailed use cases from your own lab project, okay? Then write posts like something like this: how I built a multi-framework compliance program in my home lab, or practical challenges mapping NIST CSF to ISO 27001 lessons learned. When you write that, you should include screenshots, methodology, and the lessons you've learned. Just doing this shows you're a practitioner, not just a student. I know how soul-crushing it is to apply to 200 positions and hear nothing back. That's why building credibility before you need a job is so important. Now, if this approach resonates with you, give the video a thumbs up, okay? It helps more people discover these strategies and let me know to create more content just like this. The fourth tip I'm going to give to you is strategic volunteering, okay? Volunteer where there is visibility, and especially where the visibility is high. For example, local ISACA or ISC2 chapters, right? They often need help organizing GRC-focused events. Even if it's volunteering to coordinate a panel discussion on a compliance topic, start from somewhere. This puts you in direct contact with speakers who are often managers or directors with access to the jobs that you're looking for. So, if you've been attending events randomly, you need to stop and get more strategic, okay? And the final approach I have for you is what I call the conference backdoor. I know security conferences are expensive, I know, but a cheap way to get in is through volunteering. Yes, you can specifically request to support a GRC focused session, okay? Plan to arrive early, stay late, and prepare thoughtful questions that showcase your knowledge, okay? Now, after the session, don't ask speakers for jobs, please. Instead, ask for feedback on one of your own lab projects. It is a really great way to get constructive feedback about your work, not just a transactional job request, okay? These 5 approaches build what traditional networking can't. They demonstrate credibility in your field, okay, before you've even held a formal role. The window for this backdoor approach won't stay open forever. As more people catch on those strategies, the bar will raise, okay? So, if you act now, you're positioning yourself at the front of this opportunity. By following this approach, trust me, you're not asking permission to enter the GRC field. you're demonstrating that you're already a GRC professional who happens to be available for hire. That's what it means. Okay. Now, everything I have shared with you since the beginning of this video is just to show you the possibilities beyond the traditional career advice you find online. Okay. In a field drowning in theory and starving for practical applications, the candidate who has actually done the work, even in a home lab environment, has the advantage. Okay, so now it's your turn. Yes, comment below with which project you're starting this week. Okay, not someday. Which project? Not eventually this week. Okay, not eventually this week. If you're ready for even more detailed insights for cybersecurity career, I have a video recommendation waiting for you in the description below. Make sure to check it out. Okay, if this video gave you any value, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss more career boosting strategies. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Okay, and I hope I'm leaving you today better than I met you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.